Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to say a few words. First of all, thank you everybody for coming. There's actually a few more than I even counted on. Just by way of information, today is actually Dad's birthday, so he's actually officially 100 today. I'd like to welcome everybody that's come. We've had people from interstate that I didn't expect, people from all corners of Victoria, and two special guests that have come out from Germany. Dad's Wilhelm's niece Monica and her daughter Tina. There are many people we need to thank for today, so rather than go through names and make mistakes and leave people out, I'd like to thank the people that helped set up, the people that have helped today, all the people that bought food. The cake will be coming out shortly after the speeches, and I'd also like to thank all the people that over the years have taken Dad out on outings so that he's been able to break the monotony, I guess, of being in a home. Where was I? Oh, moving along, if you're wondering what the sheet's about, we're about to reveal it now. We asked Dad if he wanted a telegram from the King of England, and he said no. Did he want something from the Australian Prime Minister? He said no. I thought, well, what can we do? Well, we could make him king for a day, so up you go. Bring the crown forward. We're going to make him Kaiser Wilhelm for the day. Come on. And continuing on the theme, who should we get a message from? We decided we'd get a message from the king of the Essendon Football Club. So I'm going to get Raymond we hopefully will play it on the screen.
This is a message from your family for your 100th birthday. Great to be in the plumbing trade, and of course fantastic to hear you've been a Bomber fan ever since you come out from Palestine, which is a long way away, mate, in those early days. In 1947 is the year I was born, so we have something in contact, okay, with each other. And of course, Bombers have been been a great club, mate. We've gone through a tough period when I left, and supplement sagas and up and down and poor coaching. And anyway, I've been back on the board and just started to sort a few things out, mate. I think we'll be a good side in 2 years, and 2 years should make you celebrate your 102nd birthday, and hopefully we're right up there, top 4 or 5 position, ready to have a crack at the grand final. What a marvellous effort, 100 years of age. Sir, you are fantastic. I'm 75 and bubbling along, and got a wonderful family. You've got a wife and 4 kids and 6 grandkids, so I've enjoyed my country, Australia. Hope you have. And amazingly that you bagged for the Bombers when you got out here. So thanks for coming to Australia. help build our nation. I really, really mean that, and I really appreciate it. So you have a wonderful time with your family and birthday, because this message is from your whole family. I love you very much. Cheers, Kev. Cheers.
The only other thing, I received a text message from Ralph Max Wagner, who I think a lot of you will know, and I think this sort of sums it up. I've just been reading that Wunschhaben about your 100th birthday. Would love to have been there to have a chat and wish him a very happy birthday, but Kate and I are exploring far north Queensland and the Northern Territory. Could you please pass on to Bill my heartfelt greetings and best wishes on such a milestone birthday? As long as I can remember, he has always been there as a part of the fabric of the Templar community. His greetings and kind words, always very much appreciated. Hope you have a wonderful day. Now, I think all that's left to say is we have members of the Templar singing group scattered around the hall, and they're going to lead us in a rendition of Happy Birthday. So 1, 2, 3, let's go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bill. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hooray!
It's just awesome to see all of you here, and I want to thank every one of you to be here and catch a light with me. And you know what we got in common, all of us here today? We are still alive. People, I get asked, what is your secret? I can only tell them, believe in a higher God, eat what you can as fresh as possible, work in the sunshine. I did not work in the factory. 80% of my life I worked for the Border Works. I had a gang between 8 and 16 men, all depend what the job was, and my biggest achievement was that none of them got hurt seriously. And I would like to thank my immediate family. I got 17 on my birthday list, and none of them are disabled. The only one disabled are me. Thank you very much.
Great.
Hello, twin. We came in the same clothes today, Uncle Bill, to celebrate your 100th birthday.
We're so proud of you.
Oh, we are, aren't we? We love having a Jägermeister with you as well. That's a bit naughty. But, Bill, you're an absolute true inspiration. We've enjoyed every part of it. You've been so positive. You've brought our culture, or Dad's culture, like Fritz's culture, back into here, and you've always spoken so positively of how you transitioned to Australia and who you were. I remember being able to drive up to Tatura with you and Carl Richter and having you both in the car with me, telling me about everything, all your stories, and then going up, and then you taking us out to the Wangaratta Basin.
Yeah.
Was that it? Yep.
Waranga
Basin. And then coming back. But there was one story that I remember, and just the hardship that you never, ever complain about, where you used to tell me that to get out of the internment camp, you had to get a job, and then you also had to have a bed. And until you had a job and a bed, no other male was allowed out of the camp. Now, I don't know whether that's a true story, but I still remember it very, very vividly about what you did as a community and how you helped each other continue to step out of that home, that internment
very,
camp.
Very hard workers.
But he never complained.
No, they didn't.
And the things that you built and the things that you did and everything, it really brings me back to really appreciating the enormity that we have in this world and what we have just at our fingertips, to what you created and how wealthy you are in emotion.
Well, every way.
Every way. So, a true inspiration. Happy 100th. We love you very, very much. And we hope that we still continue to have Jägermeisters with you forevermore.
Happy
So,
birthday,
thank you.
Uncle Bill.
Love ya.
Bye.
My name is Nellie Speed, geboren Edelmeier, and we were neighbours. Well, actually, we sort of grew up, we came to Australia together, and we sort of always have known Bill, haven't we?
Yes.
Yep.
We moved to Baronia in '53. We lived in Richmond before that, and Bill lived with the Hofers, and then he built his house, which was opposite our house in Baronia.
Yep.
And Bill started up the next year a junior soccer team, and he was the coach. And he was coached for about 3 or 4 years. We played here, just on the oval was in the park there now. And he used to take us to the soccer grounds, different grounds everywhere you had to play. He had this little Ford Prefect, I think it was, a van. And I think it was green.
Yeah, green, yeah.
And it was a rattly old thing, and it used to, but the whole team would fit in the back, like on top of each other, and a couple in the front, and that's how we went around for about 3 years. So, and then he started the tennis club in Baronia, and him and I played doubles in a lot of tournaments, and he was president for a long time, and I was on the committee with him, and we spent a lot of time on the tennis, and it was his instigation to build extra courts and that. We had 1 court in Verona, then we made 2, and then they had courts here, and then we made it 3. Then we ended up building the clubhouse up the back, and he's on the plaque on the wall as opening it, because he was the only life member at that stage. And so yes, we knew Bill a lot, and recently I used to see him a few years ago once a week in the old people's home, and because we visited Herbie Loban, and Bill would sit there with Herbie, and Helga was there too, and so we used to spend a bit of time with Bill then too. So known him a long time. He's a good man, even if he does barrack for Essendon.
My name is Herman Ulher, and I'm one of the originals. I have been in Wilhelma, or was in Wilhelma during the war years, when Bill was also in Wilhelma. So we go back a long way, but we did not connect at that stage because I was only 8. So there's a difference of over 10 years between us. But I certainly have become quite fond of Bill in the last 15 years here. For me, he's been an inspiration. Even at pretty old age, he did not miss any services. He was a marvelous carer for his sick wife. He showed what true faith can be like. We heard what he said today. He didn't have an easy life, but he lived it as one should live. A very, very solid Templar. So I wished him all the very best. We usually sit together in the services because he's on his own, so I pick him out and we... So all the very best for the next few years. I mean, one never knows. But 100 is eine stolze Zahl.
I certainly do remember that he was one of the main stokers of the wash tub kettles in Bayswater, which was used for hot water and soup and some other cooking of foods. And he did help in the kitchen, and I don't know how active he was because I was too young, I guess. But I do remember him from that aspect, and I do remember him serving or behind. I think usually the young ladies did the serving, but he was behind bringing up the food and so on, because that's where he was active. And I certainly do remember him as a neighbour in Baronia. He stayed there much longer than I did. I was only there for about 14 years or so.
Okay, I'm Gusti Ors, Reinhold Ors' wife, if you don't know me. Bill came with his German workers, his home workers or Tabelam workers. He brought them out, we had barbecues, we had pizzas with him, we had bonfire with him, and he loved the farm. And the other day he came out and made lunch for us. He had his trolley or his walker, opened the lid, had boiled eggs in there, he had his herbs in there, his big knife, and Bernhard had to shell the eggs. Bill chopped them up, put them in a bowl, put these herbs in, had the bread ready, and we all enjoyed his lunch, and he was happy as anything, with a glass of red wine. And that's what I know. Okay, Peter, it's your turn.
Okay, my name's Peter Lobet, and I wrote on his card that my dad and him used to dig septic tanks out by hand in the probably 60s or 70s, and they were good friends, and he was good friends with my dad's brother, Uncle Bill, that unfortunately passed away not long ago, but good friends of the whole Lober family. But Uncle Bill was, everyone calls him Uncle Bill because he's such a good bloke and easygoing, and yeah, what more can you say? But he's got some good stories about when the coppers pulled him over in his car one day. He had a sheep in the car, and another time they wanted to put a roadworthy on his car, take his car off the road, and he said he was on the home stretch like his car and everything like that. But yeah, but he's a real character. Cheers, Uncle Bill.
I'm Inky Arndt, yes.
And I am Helga Jürgensen, geborene Bulach.
And I'd love to know how you came to meet Bill, how you know him.
Well, he was in our next door neighbour for many, many years. So we of course we knew them very well, Helga and Bill. And our kids, even my children, when they were young, they'd visit me down there, and they said they remember us talking about all the animals he had in his garden. Oh. Sometimes, they'd have a sheep or a goat or all sorts of things. So yeah, he had a double-storey house, and when those big fires were on I think it was 1961, over the Dandenongs, you could actually see the fire over hill, and from his veranda we could see it coming. It was pretty scary actually. Yes. So, and another time, I think there was this terrible crash at Baronia Crossing, where a school bus or a bus with children, and he, as usual, you know, he'd go and run and see where he could help. He was always helping people. So yes, so for many years my parents and they were very good neighbourly friends, and we enjoyed his company there. Yes. So I don't know what else.
I don't know Bill as a neighbour, but I do know him as a very hard worker for our Ilta Ski Club.
Oh yes,
He was
that's right.
always up there working.
Yeah.
He's very, very handy in
Yes,
all
he
sorts
is,
of
yeah,
ways,
yeah.
apart from our Templar halls here, but up at Mount Buller, Ilta Ski Club, he was fantastic.
Oh, I remember. He
Good to
always
have him.
he made his hamburgers.
Oh,
And
yes.
I remember standing
Yes.
there outside on the veranda and
Yes.
said, "How do you make them so good?" And he said, "You've always got to have a bit of moisture in them, you know."
Yes, that's right. Yes, I
Yeah, that was
think
really
you
quite
might have
good.
mentioned one day what sort of ingredients there were. I don't think I remember that, but that was so nice.
Yeah, we enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's always willing to have a chat, always grateful for anyone who stops and then has a chat with him. That's really lovely.
And he was always smiling.
Always smiling, I know. He was, and I thought after his darling wife, Hagar, died, I thought he might say, "This is it, I'm nicking off." But he's going strong and good on him, still with a smile on his face.
I think he's like a mentor to a lot of people, don't you think? He's sort of,
and as I wrote in
people
my
look
card,
up to him.
an absolute inspiration. Yes. And
And
I
I
do
think-
wish him all the best
Yes.
for whatever is to come, making the most of it.
I know he'd like to be able to walk and do everything. Still, he's so bright. Always a good in conversation. Well, I hope he enjoys his day today.
And his brain is so good still. He knows exactly who we are, and which family we come from, who our siblings are, our relations.
That reminds me.
Just spot on.
He keeps telling me the story that my dad, Erich Bullach, he had asked him to be the drink waiter at my wedding, which was up at the Cuckoo, up in the hills, in the Dandenongs. And he said, and not many people came to get drinks. And I said, why was that? He said he had a lot left over. He said because they had never seen a smorgasbord of so much food. They had just had to try everything, and they totally forgot to have even a glass of wine with it. Oh, that was really funny. So yes, I have really very fond memories of him.
Lovely. Yeah.
Well, I'm Carlo Mazzella, and I know Bill because his son Herman was groomsman at my wedding to Helga many years ago, and I played tennis with Herman, so really my connection is to Herman, but I've known Bill nearly as long as I guess I've known Herman, and I honestly think he's one of life's wonderful gentlemen, and he's a guy that I respect and admire very much in the way his life and the way he's brought up his family is just wonderful, and I admire him very much.
Hi, I'm Ilse Nicholson, born Edelmeyer, and I've known Bill. I grew up living opposite Bill in Baronia all the years, and I used to babysit Herman and Annette when they were little, and I was going to uni, and I've always been very good friends with him, and and he's a great bomber supporter.
Oh no,
like
that's
half the Templars, and
I
we always have something to talk about. Go Bombers!
That's the one thing I don't like about him, but that's all right.
Well, I'm Neil Nicholson. I married Ilsa over 50 years ago, and when I met Ilsa, one of the first people she introduced me to was Bill, because he was president of the tennis club, and I had to have an interview with him before they'd let me play. And he was always, and just by coincidence, I was working for the Board of Works at the time, which he worked for, but in a completely different department. And so we had something in common to talk about.
I'm Helga Mazzella, geborene Kübler. I suppose I met Bill through Herman because we did play tennis together back in the 80s or whatever. So yeah, that's how I sort of know Bill off, and yeah, now Carlo sort of visits him at the nursing home a bit, and yeah, happy birthday, Bill.
Yeah, I just want to say it's actually a privilege to know Bill. He's a wonderful guy, and I do visit him every now and then, maybe not as often as I should, but I think it's important to keep in touch with our old friends. They can teach us a lot, and I've certainly learnt a lot from Bill.
So what are some of the things you've learned from Bill?
Oh, just to do with family, and the way he reveres his family and respects his family, and I'm sure that his family respect him very much, and I think we've seen that today with the wonderful get together that his family's put on for him. It's I guess it's a payback for everything that Bill has done for them in his life, and you know, we should never forget about the old people and how much they can teach us, definitely.
Oh, we was playing, I was about, I don't know, 12 or 13, playing in a competition in a grand final. We'd already lost the grand final. We didn't have it, you know, and then we went on to play the last set, Bill and I together as a mixed. And it got to about 6-all, and I thought to Bill, oh, you know, can we sort of get rid of this game? He said, no. And we ended up playing till 18-16, and it was nearly dark. But he was not going to give it, although it was worthless.
Yeah.
Do you have any other, I mean, I think the tennis story, are there any other kind of interesting tennis things that you recall since you played with him? So he's your partner, as
in that day, yes.
Oh, just that day.
We played the set together, and he was not going to give in, you know.
My name's Peter Hatswell. I'm Edith Hatswell's son. Well, Edith was a Sawatzky. That was her maiden name.
Yep.
And Edith's mother was Martha Sawatzky. And now I think is it Martha Sawatzky's?
So yeah, Martha Sawatzky. Mama was originally a Hornung.
Yep.
That's right, and married Pop, who was Ernst Sawatzky. Yep. Yes, so our mother is their child, was it? And their oldest child, Edith. So she's or Edith. So she's passed away now for a couple of years. She died at the age of 92. Over in Adelaide. So our mother, Edith, she married a Hatswell. So we're both Hatswells. I'm Robert Hatswell. I'm the youngest one of the 3 brothers that she had, 3 sons. And they moved to Adelaide because that's where our dad wanted to stay, and that's where his family was. So we would come over regularly of Christmas time because Mum was always homesick for the rest of her family, or the Sawatzky clan, which lived here in Melbourne. And
I do remember we often used to visit Bill.
Yes.
And then he had a farm.
Yeah,
he used to grow stuff.
There was lots of aunties, and there was Olga, there was Tanta Anna.
Yeah.
Remember, she was really tall.
Yes.
And large. She was the one that actually had the scar on the side of her head, and that was because she was a school teacher. And anyway, that was, I remember that was pretty cool. We thought that was pretty great. It was a bullet graze, right? Anyway, the aircraft went through and sort of shot up the train where all the school kids were, and she sheltered the kids. Anyway, so she got grazed. So that was her claim to fame. As kids, we thought that was pretty amazing. Obviously, for her, it was very traumatic. Okay, what else can we say about the history?
About Uncle Bill. Every time there's been I've seen him a number of times, but usually at family gatherings.
Yes.
And I think he was at the last time it was it Nobe's funeral?
Yes, that's the sad part of it. Most of the times when we get
it was
together,
almost always a funeral.
A funeral,
like
that's right.
one good thing. Like funerals are
joining the
never a
honours
good
list.
thing, but if there has to be a good thing, it brings people together and
Yeah.
brings family together.
Yeah.
And I think family, well, it's all about family. I think when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, it's family, and Bill is family.
Yeah, we didn't know Bill a lot though when we were
No,
younger.
no.
It was only towards like later in life, and it was just because Bill's there. He's a survivor.
And I think those Sawatzky genes are marvellous.
Yeah, I'm Heinz Vollmer. So my biggest memory of Bill Sawatzky is meeting him while he's driving his Volkswagen Beetle with 3 sheep in the back, which was just insane. And then, learning that he had to give up the Volkswagen and bought some sort of van because the floor rusted out of the Volkswagen and the sheep were falling through onto the road. So that was about it. Yeah. Very nice fella. Always up for a chat. Always very friendly. So 100 years, amazing.
You must have seen him in your time as working around here.
Yeah, he's always around. Always wanders in and wants to know what's happening in the hall, wants to know whose function it is, and then knows the whole full history of the relatives and everything. It's just, his memory's amazing.
So, hello, my name's Hoovie Acker Ballard Herfer. I've got many stories with Uncle Bill. How long have I got? A few minutes. I'm going to tell my favourite story with Uncle Bill. That's when we're going down Dorset Road. I'm living at Orpar's house next door, Uncle Bill's, and I'm going down the road, and all of a sudden he pulls over his Volkswagen. Goes, "You want a lift?" "It's all right, I can walk to the station." No, jump in, I'll give you a lift." I said, "No, it's all right, I'm halfway there. Come on, jump in." All right, Uncle Bill, opened up the car door, and in the front passenger seat, where most people would expect to find a seat, there was a sheep. I said, "There was a sheep?" And I said, "Uncle Bill, where do I get to sit?" And he goes, "You get to sit in the back on the hay bar." So I'm going down the highway there, and all of a sudden the police pull us over, or thereabouts. And he goes, "What are you guys up to?" I said, "He's just giving me a lift." He said, "With a sheep in the car?" Well, that's Uncle Bill. Helps to know the local copper. Other stories, Uncle Bill going up to the farm, up in Mumble, those sort of places. All I can say is, good on you, Uncle Bill. I'm going to keep it short and sweet here, but I'm glad you made your 100, and it's a joy taking you out where I can. Have a good one.
Your old Opa.
What can you tell
You
me?
know when I
What
first
can
met
you
your
tell
Opa?
me about old Opa?
When I met up your Opa, yeah, he was already married, that's right. I came in 1960s, over 60s. I got through the Templars, that because we had a folk dancing group. We
Well,
ended up
Herman was
there.
born 54.
Yeah.
So
we came with Uncle Bill. Yeah, the uncle was already there.
Your
and
Opa?
your Opa, no, hang on.
Well, Herman's her Opa.
Yeah, and your Opa was
And
that
Auntie Annie.
little, and your auntie, no.
Yeah, Auntie Annie. Auntie Annie
My second auntie.
would have been that little.
She was flower girl to our Uli's sister. Annette, yep, okay.
That's right.
And that's how family found out your family, your Opa. Your Opa.
Your old Opa.
Oh, good God, yeah.
How old's your old Opa today?
100.
Is that very, very old?
Don't you think it's special that your Opa, who's 100, that he had so many people here? Don't you think that's amazing? Young people, old people, because your Opa was involved in tennis. He was very much into playing tennis. He was in the committee of the tennis club, and your Opa was always in the kitchen making meals, making the hamburgers. He was always on the barbecue. Can you remember that?
Yeah, I can.
At the tennis
I can remember.
Did Herman play?
Yeah, Herman played. And when
Yeah.
we first got together, Bill Opa,
was doing lots of catering for the weddings.
Exactly.
And stuff, so I got
He
involved.
was always in the
with
kitchen.
those.
He's always had an apron on.
Yes.
And he was always, everybody knew Bill.
Yes.
Well, some called him Bill.
Everybody knew Bill.
Yes. And you would probably find out today a lot of people call him Uncle Bill, although they're not at all related.
Mm.
So your Opa was very much in all sorts of things, wasn't he? Yeah. So
Hang on, let me just ask Mum something.
You need to ask Mum something. What are you going to ask her? Something about Orpa?
Yes. Well, anyway, what Opa is. Anyway, is he still there? Well, all I can say to Uncle Bill, Wilhelm Sawatzky, that, you know, he was basically related to our Oma, wasn't he?
Basically.
So he was the younger one. But I must admit,
Exactly.
but early on we didn't see...
To your Oma, yeah.
Yeah,
Brother
but
and
I'm just
sister.
saying early on, when everybody's little, we hardly ever saw Uncle Bill and Tante Helga.
Well, he
It
was
was a-
working all the time.
Yeah, apart from, no, they went more towards the Eppingers.
Yes, family, Christmas and things like that was
Yeah, it was
always
more
the
Eppinger.
Eppingers.
I know
Yeah.
Uncle Bill and Tante Helga always came to my mother-in-law's, Tante Helena's birthdays. They were always
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So, and what do you remember?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've just realised how our families were a little bit different, like siloed, and we didn't know much about Uncle Bill.
No.
And it's just the last
Yet
few
he
years.
They did just live next door.
Yeah.
That's
But they didn't come over a lot. For some reason.
Somehow
was
it was
it
a
the
bit
age
separate.
difference and the kids were probably different
Maybe
ages?
the age difference, and maybe Helga was very close to her family,
Yeah,
so there
yeah.
was, she would go back to Bentley a lot,
Yeah.
and he would go up to Monbulk.
Mm.
Once he had, he'd go off to Monbulk.
It's only now in later years. I mean, Bernard's, you know, does a lot with him.
He does. Bernard's
And,
amazing.
well, he's
Mm.
Bernard's always liked older
Mm.
people. He can relate to older
Mm.
people. He needs a meaningful discussion,
Yeah.
not just airy-fairy stuff.
And Bill's up for whatever visits he can have.
Yes.
And, if you
And
put
he
him
loves
in,
talking
he wants
about
to go
old
in the
time, and
park.
Bernard's very interested, and
Yeah.
like you are now, interested in the story, and he will niggle until he gets the exact information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
Uncle Bill gives
To
him.
keep the history going.
Yeah,
Because he
yeah,
remembers
yeah.
it all.
But I also think, so if you think about how the family works, you had Helene and Rudolf, and that family did everything together in that
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and it hardly spread out from that. And it's really only later
Such
now
a
that
big family too,
yeah, I mean
wasn't
that
it?
was already
So-
30 people, so then
Exactly.
you know, and really it's been the last few years that I suddenly realised, you know, there's Uncle Bill. He was Oma's brother, and you didn't even think about that in the olden days. And he's still there, and he's connected to everything.
And I'm just saying today, how many people turn up? Okay, on top of it, it's Sunday. Lucky enough, it's Sunday. Maybe not as much if it was during the week, but actually on his birthday.
Oh, he planned
and
He planned that well. I thought that was
very
excellent
well.
planning.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
planning ahead.
anyway, I'm also saying that shows you how many people were touched by him.
Yes.
You know, the young ones like in Tennessee, and people I said, "Oh, God, you're here." Yes, we're here. We used to go with him to the football, and he was in the tennis club, and they lived in the community, and they all got to relate stories.
I think the email that Max sent Herman to say they were away, but he couldn't be here. But his comment about Bill being the epitome of the Templar community.
Yeah, he was always involved in anything.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
What else can we say? I mean, it's amazing that he made it, and I'm thinking every day, 100's coming up.
Hang in there.
Don't do anything. You know, you quite often want to do cheeky little things, like escaping from.
If you don't take him into the cafe at the home. Put him in the car and take him out.
Yeah, no, that's what he.
Tell you where he wants to go.
Well, that's what I've realised. So we took him for a drive with Moni and Tina the day, and he's sitting in the back seat. Go that way.
Yep.
Turn left here. I had no idea where. Don't follow Google. I'll show you where to go.
Well, Bernard, they went up to Oz and he would name everything that was going up there. And then Bernard was going this way. He said, "No, you're not going there. Why are you going there? This is where we're going." But Bernard said, "We're going a different way there." "No, we're going to go this way today."
Oh yeah,
he
knows
knew
which way he wants
every
to go.
street and every street. So
Because he worked up there somewhere.
Yeah.
A lot of work. So he did so much work up there.
He even did work outside my brother's place up in Furnick Creek.
Yeah, I mean, the
So
Border
my
Works was
brother
good.
knows him
Provided
too.
a beautiful bluestone wall for our house in Rural.
Oh, lovely.
Beautiful. Pity we had to leave it behind. It's still standing. We drive past occasionally.
Ballard came home last night and he said, "Oh, it really looks beautiful." And there are a few humorous things. Oh, Mum, that's a beautiful surprise. Must have been that.
That was it,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Well, he didn't want a telegram from the King,
No.
so that was appropriate. And the
from the
sign from the farm had to come up. The cows and the
Yes,
sheep.
I thought that was hilarious. That was very good, that
That's
sign.
very Bill.
Mm.
See, my girls' memories are of old Pa picking them
Yes.
up in his stinky car. He'd pick them up from school and they'd go, "No, don't park near the school, Pa."
I know. Yeah, and the story about the sheep. Everybody knows
It's
about the
about
story
sheep
in the sheep.
in the Volkswagen.
In the Volkswagen, yep. Yep, driving through Baronia.
Mm.
Baronia Road with the sheep in the front
And
seat.
those seat belts. Yeah.
And driving up the mountain with pigeon straw on the Volkswagen. You couldn't see the car, there were just these huge bales of pigeon straw, and he'd crawl up the hill, everybody would be cursing behind him. A big come. And the cows knew when he was coming. I always knew when he arrived, when he was coming, before he got anywhere near the gate, because they'd start bellowing. And you go, "Oh, Bill's on his way." Okay. It was my forewarning when they started bellowing that he was coming. So, he loved his cows.
Well, again, with the photos, he says, these photos of the cows have to be in there. Put them in the end of my cows. Don't miss out.
Oh, yeah.
Had to be the
Did
cows.
he tell you to put them in?
Yes.
Yeah, had to have his cows.
Photo of the cows.
Okay.
Yep.
So my name's Annette Wagner Hesse, and I know Bill, well, I've known Bill for a long time, but I guess I particularly have noticed him much more in recent years when I was going to visit my mum, Hulda Wagner, in the home. And Bill was always sitting in the corridor and waiting for the meals, and he would always recognise me and know me. So he was very sweet and supportive. And in my mum's final months, he was such an attentive and kind neighbour and fellow resident of the home that I was always pleased to know that he was nearby and popping in to see Mum from time to time. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, Bill. You've been a real gem and I'm very glad to know you. Happy birthday!
Hallo, ich bin Monika. Onkel Bill ist mein Onkel. Und ich bin froh, dass ich zu seinem 100. Geburtstag hier in Australien bin. Es war sehr schön, danke. Und ich wünsche dir, lieber Bill, eine ganz gute Zeit. Liebe Grüße aus Deutschland, Monika, Dedo, Daniel, Navina, Naoto und Edith.
Yes, Camille. An deinem 95. Geburtstag, Onkel Bill, haben wir telefoniert und du hast gesagt, oh, wer will schon so alt werden wie ich? Und ich habe gesagt, wenn es dir gut geht, mach weiter, wie du das machst, all good. And I'll be there on the day you turn 100. And here we are.
Here we are.
I made Mum come over, which was a bit hard to work on her, but she made it, and I'm glad we did that as
Yes.
mum and daughter. Mwah. So thank you. It was a pleasure to be here, and I'm gonna start crying.
Yes.
now. Thanks, Uncle Bill. You're the
Bye-bye.
best companion to drink Jägermeister with.
Yes.
Love you. Mwah.
Bye.
Beg for your
Bye.
105th, I promise.